Now, let's start with the big news out of Boulder that Deion Sanders gets a massive extension from the Buffaloes. 5 years, $54 million ties him to CU through now 2029. Obviously, this offseason there's been a lot of talk and speculation about Deion's future and where that future was going to be. Some flirtations, whether it was just specifically from the NFL side or even from Coach Prime's side himself. There was definitely some rumors swirling about Dallas and other locations. This contract extension has been talked about for a long time, and they settle and they end up signing. And you know what? Good for Coach Prime, because he deserves this in a lot of ways. And I'm going to run down this because I think that there are going to be, as there is with everything with Deion Sanders, there's going to be polar opposite opinions. And let's just try to lay the facts on the table here. Now, I think most people can do that, and they can do that in a smart and educated way. And so I want to appeal to those folks out there and those college football fans who understand the value of a quality coach and what that quality coach can do, not only for the program, but for the entirety of the institution. So this deal is going to pay him $10.8 million on average over the course of the next 5 years. That puts him, by the way, at number 4 in all of college football, which is quite staggering because the only 3 guys ahead of him, as you're watching on YouTube, Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, and Dabo Swinney, those are the only 3 guys that have national championships in college football, just above Steve Sarkisian. So Deion now firmly in the top 5 in all of college football as far as pay goes. Now, you might be thinking to yourself like, wow, isn't that a little bit steep? Well, I think with Deion, it's not just what he's bringing to the field. And I'm going to run through a little bit of that because think about what's happened just in the last year. All right. Just in the last year, Colorado has gone from a 1-win team to a relevant team to a 9-win team and a top 25 finisher. 2 years after going 1-11, Travis Hunter wins the Heisman Trophy, the highest award you can possibly win in our sport. They flipped a 5-star quarterback, Juju Lewis, signed one of the top transfer quarterbacks, and Caden Salter. Marshall Falk is now the running back coach. Byron Leftwich is now an assistant. Deion is a top 5 paid coach in the sport. Like, the momentum for Colorado right now is palpable and good for them. So the commitment level from the program side and Rick George and everybody backing that program is quite staggering compared to what it has been over its history. Because remember now, I went there. I know this place's history. I've been sitting in those north stands since the mid-'80s when my dad took me to my first game. And Colorado has never been a place that was rich with resources. Now, I think it's rich with tradition and with history, and I love that history as an alum and someone that put on that black and gold uniform. But we were never a place that just had resources or could just pay people to keep them, whether it was assistant coaches or just raise money for buildings and facilities. So everything done at Colorado has to be done. It's hard. It's tedious. There isn't just a giant donor there like there is in other locations. And yet, Deion comes in and he's changed that. And he's changed that because of all the things that he's done, both on the field and off. I touched on what happened just on the field right there, but think about what's happened off the field in Colorado. I'm going to read some of these statistics, and these are quite staggering, okay? CU just had a record number of applicants overall for 2024 fall semester. That was up 20% from the year before. There was an 18% increase in applications from out-of-state students. So just with that alone, you're getting a much better quality student, and you can get more out-of-state students, which is going to be better for the bottom line of the institution. I will argue that even though this seems like a giant contract, it's actually totally worth it for Colorado and for all of those other schools that we're looking at that are paying their coach millions and millions of dollars. All right. Applications from Black and African American students up 50%. You've got football ticket sales went from 13 million before Deion got there to 31 million in year number 1. Don't have the numbers yet for year number 2. Home home football games brought a combined $93.9 million in direct economic impact for the city of Boulder, and there was $146.5 million in regional economic impact. That's staggering. So the entire region is benefiting from the wave of momentum that Coach Prime has created on the field. And that is now being rewarded. And this is a great move for Colorado because of that. And if you're trying to knock him, I would just say that like this, it's very rare that someone comes in and does what he's been able to do and coach a team and lead a program that was basically irrelevant and had been irrelevant for about 2 decades, which is sad for me to say, but still the truth. But it was overall an irrelevant place. And then he led them in his second year. They're in the top 25, and he's got a Heisman Trophy winner. He's only the second coach in the last 25 years to inherit a Power 5 conference team with 1 win and turn them into a top 25 team in the second year. The only other guy to do that was Lou Holtz at South Carolina. Like, I'm just, I think it's worth it. I think he's worth it. All right. And Colorado is a place that I think that he can continue to have success. And I think that he will continue to have success. And like I said, like I love the momentum that he's, while everyone is whining and crying about Deion and there are too many detractors, certainly. If you just look at what's gone on the field and what's going on off the field at the institution, this is 100% worth it. This is a football team that just posted its highest GPA ever in the history of the program at 3.0. Recruiting continues to get even better. And now it can take off because other schools can't just sit there and say like, well, we don't know if Deion's going to be there or not. Yes, we do. He's a top 5 paid coach in the entirety of the sport. We know exactly where he's going to be. Look at the staff. You sit down with a kid now and a recruit. If you're a DB, you get to come play for Deion Sanders. If you're a defensive lineman, you get to come play for Warren Sapp. If you're a quarterback, you get to come and get tutelage from Byron Leftwich. If you're a running back, you get to come and you get to play for Marshall Falk. That's really good. I think that people from the outside love to take shots at Deion and talk about that this program isn't legitimate and there's no sustainability. And the sustainability is right here. It's right here. And now Colorado has anteed up and done their part. Now they're going to continue to, and I hope they're going to continue to ante up because they're going to need to continue to support the NIL, which that's really now become the lifeblood of a program and the way that you accumulate talent. I think the bigger question now is like, we understand why Colorado would want him. And all of those things that I just ran down, like those are fairly obvious. And I think everybody can get behind those. So then the question is like, well, why would Deion want to stay there? Why would he want to stay there? Why does it make sense for Deion to stay with the Buffs rather than go to another program or even go to the National Football League? Well, I do think I have an answer for that. I think number one, Colorado is a place that has given him the keys fully and completely. And this contract signifies that. But it's not just the financial keys. It's also the culture keys. He can and has done whatever he wants with that program. And that's not the case at every single program. Maybe even his alma mater or other big programs. You can go to a quote unquote like more blue blood college football program. Okay, that's fine. You go there and then you're going to fight internally the fights if you want to change the uniforms or do something a little bit differently or a different way. Deion has come into Colorado and it's like, hey man, do whatever you want to do. This is his program at this point. And from Deion's standpoint, I think that that's attractive. I really do. And I think it's been smart from Rick George and those in charge to allow him that latitude to turn this program into what he wants it to be. This is his program. It has his fingerprint on it. And that's attractive from his standpoint. Okay, so that's one reason why he would want to stay at Colorado. I think from the Power 4 dynamic, some might say like, well, wouldn't you want to be in the SEC or the Big Ten? Maybe. And I would just say like this is quite a commitment from a school that's not in those conferences, that doesn't have that revenue share and doesn't have that projected revenue share over the course of this contract. This is a staggering level of commitment from Colorado. So would you want to go there? Well, they just put him in the top 5 as far as resources in terms of paying him. And if they're going to do that, then you pay the assistant coaches. So like the resources are there, or at least this signals that they're there, where he doesn't need to jump to a bigger conference. And then the last one about the NFL, I just don't think that Deion would want to go to the NFL, nor he would feel called to the NFL. I've sat with him several times. And in all of those conversations, I'll talk to him about this. I'm like, okay, like, what are your plans? What do you want to do? Would you go to the NFL? And he's like, I can't mentor young men at the NFL level like I can here at the college level. I think he's a fabulous college football coach. I think that he does an incredible job getting young men to start thinking about excellence in every area of their life and not just on the football field. Thinking about winning in every area of their life and not just the football field. And you see that with the standards that they have with how they treat people, how they're approaching their academics, which the evidence is in their GPA as a team. So all of those things. And you can't really do that at the NFL level. It's much more transactions based. Now, maybe it's getting that way with NIL, but you still have this ability to mentor these young men. You know, they're shapeable clay, if you will. And I think that that's attractive to him. So those are the reasons that I think he would want to stay at Colorado. But all in all, I think this is a great move and a no-brainer from the Colorado perspective. I think it's a good move for Deion. He gets to be at a place that he clearly likes and wants to be. And now he can go focus on creating a program that can go win on the top level. And remember now, we're in a period where we're about to get a playoff change that's going to define the path and define that path towards a playoff berth. And you would only have to be in like the top 4 of the Big 12 to play a game, a meaningful game at the end of the season for the right to go to the college football playoff. Well, that's an attractive deal. Okay, so can you be in the top 4 in the Big 12 with Deion Sanders and a top 5 salary in college football? Yeah, the answer is yes. And so from that standpoint, I think it's a really good fit. Thank you for watching the Joel Klatt Show YouTube channel. And if you liked this clip, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel, and you can stay up to date on all of my college football coverage.